Actually, I was pretty good friends with Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty. Um, I opened my doors to him, and a lot of the guys were the older guys wouldn't talk to him, so I was one of the few that did talk to him, and I liked Shawn and Marty at that time. I don't know him anymore now, but I'm sure. In fact, someone said Shawn said to say hi to me the other day, Brian Knobs. But I like Shawn. I like Shawn. I like Marty.
Shawn was I don't know if people know Shawn as well or not. Shawn is he's a giver.
Okay.
He gives out, he gives to you. He makes me, like when we were triple threat matches, me, him, and Brett.
Mm-hmm.
I don't mind saying, I said it before, working with Brett was like pulling teeth.
You said that in the last shoot interview.
Yeah, and Shawn, when he saw that, me and Shawn would look at each other. We just sort of said, hey, we'll work around this. And Shawn would go out of his way to really make me look super cool in the match. I'd do the same for him, and we'd do the same for Brett as well. People say, well, Sid's not happy. He takes his ball and goes home with it. You just said I've done more jobs than anybody. That's a false statement about me.
Yeah.
I have told, like the time I was winning the belt from Shawn at SummerSlam, the whole deal was I was hit, at Lothario with that camera, and then I think Shawn as well.
Mm-hmm.
Then the power bomb, and then I knew I was going to drop the belt back to him in his hometown. I just thought it was a better decision just to beat him clean, and then when he beat me clean, it would meant more. I just told Vince I thought it was not the smartest thing to do. I voiced my opinion about things like that, but I said, hey, you're the boss. I'm going to do what you asked me to do.
Now, from Ted, you went to Shawn.
Yeah.
What were the circumstances behind that?
God. And when I broke up with Ted again, I was in fear for my job. I didn't know what they were going to do with me. I mean, what were they going to do with me, How many guys could they put me with? And then, not in my wildest dreams did I ever think that I'd be working with Shawn. After watching him being groomed, growing up in AWA and everything before that, and then watching him WWF, it was just amazing. And then I said, oh my God, I've got another boy toy. Jimmy Hart heard that, and I think that's where the title from the song came.
Right.
And we wind up making the track for that, and Vince decided that Jimmy Hart and I, because I was singing the original one, and he used to start laughing. I'd sing that tape to him all the time, and he was just so crazy. But he was really, really cool, and because of the fact that we had the AWA past relationship, it was kind of easy for us to go into it again. I had him call his wife at the time and make sure she was comfortable with it, and she was.
Right.
And it just started off, and it went. They billed it as that I had an infatuation with Shawn. He was my boy toy, and and it was the storyline just went on and on and on. They took pictures of us, me feeding him grapes, and doing anything. Then we came out with the mirrors, and Shawn's a gorgeous man, and hey, it was only natural he had a mirror to look in. But one of the things I remember most, and Vince kind of got onto us a little bit for this, was when we got to the point like we'd get up into the ring after our announcements had been made, and we would do our poses. Well, I said, when we were in the ring one day, I said, Shawn, take me by the hair of the head and just slam me down in front of you. And when he did, I'd come up, like this, looking at everybody. Vince got a little bit perturbed about that, and he kind of made us stop doing that after a while. But eventually, the impact of it he saw what we were trying to do, so he let us keep doing it after that. But we would talk. One of the things I remember mostly about Shawn was, it's not even wrestling related. We had a show in Philadelphia that night. We flew out from New York. But Shawn didn't go to Philly. Shawn went to the Atlanta airport and then to Tampa. He was going to watch his wife graduate. She had been to interior design school and she was graduating. But what he did, he didn't have a tie. He was going through the Atlanta airport. He bought a tie, walked up to this guy in a suit, and he said, sir, you look like you know how to tie a tie. My wife's graduating and I don't know, please help me. So the man helped him. And he made the graduation. He made it back to the arena that night. Well, as soon as he got back, he proceeded to come in the dressing room, and he'd come in there, and he always liked the satin on my gloves. So he was always doing, this number. So I always made sure that I carried an extra glove for him so he could carry it around. Because when he was a baby, I think his mom had satin or something to that effect in his crib, and he just liked the feel of it. And he would always be doing that, but he was always intent, and he came right back in and grabbed his glove and started doing this. Proceeded to tell me that he had made his wife's graduation, and with the guy in the airport and tying his tie, and so it was just amazing. Shawn just had and probably still has so much love inside of him for the wrestling business, and I think that's quite evident from his recent comeback.
Are you shocked that he came back?
No.
No. Huh.
No.
Because I thought he had a career-ending injury.
Yeah, I thought that he was out for good, but when he came back, I said yes.
Huh.
I didn't know. I knew that his injury was really bad. I didn't know that if he would try to go into another profession or go in another direction with his life. I really had no idea that he was going to come back, but it was quite a pleasure to see.
Now here comes Shawn and Marty again. Now this is like the third territory third company that you worked with them. Were Shawn and Marty any different here in New York compared to working with them?
I mean, in the ring wise, never. But I remember they were having problems, between themselves,
Oh yeah.
And that wasn't pleasant at all, when you're partners, man, you gotta be in sync, and you gotta be, okay with each other, because you gotta trust each other out there. That's the biggest thing. I tell you what, we worked with the Rockers that night.
Royal Rumble?
Yeah, and I asked Vince, can I take off my boots? He goes, please. And I took them off, and I remember that night we were in that town in St. Louis, Missouri, and I can't remember the name. And I remember having one of the greatest matches there, and I remember Vince saying, oh yeah, this is it.
People still talk about the Royal Rumble match to this day. It was probably one of the greatest matches of all time.
Oh, wow.
For you guys with your series. What did Vince say about that match?
I mean, the whole dressing room stood up when we came back and started clapping.
Yeah, it was an amazing match.
So I mean, we knew when that happened, we were going, wow. We didn't realize how good it was, until we got back,
What about the Rockers? Matches with the Rockers?
I don't remember too many of the matches. We had a few matches with the Rockers. I mean, they were
Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty.
Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty. I don't remember them as being. They were easy matches, but their style was really completely different than ours. And I think at that time they were feeding a lot of the underneath teams and the middle tier teams to us to move up. I mean, I don't remember anything that stands out other than the costumes that they had flying around.
It was fun every night that we did go out in the ring, though. I mean, the traveling, the being away from home was absolutely brutal. But the time being in the locker room and going out to the ring, it was the best times ever.
Well, I think once you get to the locker room, you're home.
Yeah.
From the time you drop your bags and you're saying hello to all the guys, and you're looking at the arena, and to getting your paint on, to your shower and leave, that's your comfort level.
It was devastating. And then our day had to continue. That's when we found out that they were going to do a tribute. And Shawn told me, he goes, I know Eddie would really have loved to see us work together. Do you think you can pull one off? I said, of course I can. That was definitely not the way I wanted to wrestle Shawn. I wanted to have it in different terms. But I think that was a special night, and it happened.
How did the HBK romance blossom?
Well, okay, you remember when he got his ass kicked in Syracuse?
Yes.
Okay. I was in my hotel room, and there's a knock on the door. It was like 2 o'clock in the morning, and I'm in my pajamas. I wake up, and I go open the door. It's Davey Boy, who was one of my best friends on the road. And he's like, you got to come next door. Shawn got hurt. It's like, oh, and Shawn was right in the next room. So I go in the room. First of all, Davey starts laughing at me because I'm wearing pink plaid Victoria's Secret flannel pajamas, and he just starts laughing at me. Thanks, Davey.
What's wrong with that?
I know. He was laughing at me. So I go in the next room, and there's Shawn sitting on the end of the bed, and he's like wobbling and rocking like this, and he's got a cut under his eye that's bleeding. He's bleeding out from the inside of his ear, and he wasn't even coherent, but he's still sitting up, but he's wobbling. So I was like, oh, this isn't good. So Davey's like, oh, I'll just put him to bed. He'll be fine. I said, no, if it was just a cut on his face, yeah, I'd say put him to bed. But there's blood coming out from the inside of his ear. We got to get him checked. So I went to the hospital in the ambulance with him. I sat there for 9 hours with him all night long. I ordered a plastic surgeon to stitch up his face because his face is his money.
Right.
You know, ordered a plastic surgeon. They did the MRIs and everything, and they said his brain is fine. He didn't even have a concussion. They said he probably kicked in the ear. It caused a little cut, and that's where the blood was coming from. Okay, so because I sat in the hospital with him all night, I don't know if he had this like Nurse Nightingale thing or something like that, but he was just like, I can't believe you sat with me all night and you took care of me and you ordered the plastic surgery. I'm like, well, it's what friends do, you know? I would do that for anybody. Meanwhile, all the boys went back out to drink more. They didn't give a shit. They didn't come to the hospital. They didn't see if he was
dropped
okay.
him off and
They dropped him off and went back out.
Wow.
I go to the hospital with him. So after that, he was given like a month off the road, and I was talking to him every day. We were talking, and like I would call him, make sure he was okay. If he was asleep, his mom would pick up, and I would be talking to his mom for like an hour. She went there to take care of him and stay with him because he was really rocked for a while. So he comes back to work, and I'm looking through a curtain watching the show, and he's standing right behind me, like looking over my head, watching the curtain, because we're all lined up against the curtain watching the show. And all of a sudden, he pushes up against me. He goes, "You feel that?" And of course, he was hard, and he's pushing up against my butt. I'm like, "Yeah, I do." And that was the beginning of the end. So that night, we went off and found an empty locker room, did our thing, and that's how it all started.
Where was Chris at the time?
He was still in the company. We were split. Well, see, a lot of people think I cheated on Chris with Shawn. Chris and I had split up.
Were you traveling together still?
We were still traveling together because it wasn't really anybody's business if we split up.
Right.
So on the road, we still looked like we were together. We traveled together, we stayed together, you know. But as soon as we got home, he would either go to his mom's or dad's or a hotel, and I would go home. We weren't even living together.
Okay.
We were split. We needed a break. I needed a break. He, of course, I don't think he wanted a break, but I needed a break. Right. I mean, he was the first person I ever had sex with. I was 17 years old, lost my virginity to him. We were together it was almost the 7-year mark. Mm-hmm. And it was like, I had the itch. You know what I mean? I was kind of tired of being in the same thing, and I wanted to see what was out there.
Did he have the itch as well, or was...
No, he worshipped the ground I walked on.
Right. Right.
Worshipped the ground I walked on. He did not have an itch. So we split up for a little while, and that's when I was seeing Shawn.
Okay. How did he handle that?
We never spoke about it.
Okay.
We never spoke about it. I'm sure he knew. How could he not know?
Right.
But we never spoke about it.
Okay.
Never. But we still traveled on the road. We'd go to the airport together, take our flights together, travel together, drive together. So to the crew and the company, it looked like we were still together, but we weren't.
Was Shawn worried that Chris was going to give him any trouble?
Shawn's ego was out of control.
I can imagine.
He didn't like that I was still sharing a room with Chris, even though nothing was happening with Chris. I wasn't having sex with him. We were just like sharing a room.
Right.
And I usually slept in the other bed.
Right.
He didn't like that. He didn't like that we were riding together. He didn't like a lot of stuff. And it came down to finally after like 9 months of, you know, kind of sneaking around together all the time, because we'd find empty rooms in arenas and have sex. We were like high schoolers. We couldn't get enough. And then at night we'd check into our hotels. Like I would always make the hotel reservations for the clique. That was my job. I was like travel girl.
Right.
So I would book like 5 hotel rooms at whatever hotel I was going to, because I always had this hookup with discounts. I got 50% off like Hyatt's, Hilton's, Marriott's.
Is that why they gave you the job?
Well, that's why, yeah, it was my job because I got a
Right.
really good deal for everybody.
Right.
So I would always book 5 rooms under my name, and everybody would know that when they show up to the hotel, I tell them what hotel. They just ask for the reservation for Sitch, and they would each get their room. Kevin, Shawn, Triple H, Shawn, and Scott would always just bounce around and stay with someone. And then I had a room. I always had the 5th room. So, you know, we would get back to the hotel. I'd check in. Chris would go to sleep, and I'd go into Shawn's room. It was that, and then I'd go back and go to sleep in my room. It was just, that was our routine. That's what we did. So about 9 months into it, Shawn was building a new house in San Antonio, because he was living up Fort Worth when this was all going on. But he's building this new house, and his mom and I actually picked out colors for the floors and the cabinets and the countertops. I helped his mom like design the inside of this house. And then the house is almost done. And I'm on the phone with Shawn because we had a couple of days off. He goes, I want you to move in with me. And I was like, okay, this is like a huge step. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, this would be awesome. Move to San Antonio, live with Shawn, you know, who knows what could happen from there. And I said to myself, if I do this, Chris will kill himself. Because that will basically be the final break with Chris if I moved in with Shawn.
I was going to ask you that, like, because he was kind of like in his mind, like making believe this wasn't happening.
Exactly.
With a step like that.
Exactly.
That's pretty dramatic.
If I moved in with Shawn, Chris would have known, okay, it's totally over now. And he probably would have killed himself. Because like I said, he worshipped the ground I walked on. So in my heart, I couldn't do that. So I told Shawn I couldn't move in. And his ego was just like, it was like a shotgun to his ego. Because he was like, wait a minute, hold on. You're picking him over me?
I was going to say,
I'm
you
the Heartbreak Kid.
told him the reasoning.
Yeah.
And he couldn't handle it.
He couldn't handle that. So it was the very next trip we had together. It was a couple days later. Shawn and I were booked on the NATP convention in Vegas. It's the National Association of Television Producers and Executives. So we would go there and like try to sell the show to like syndicates and stuff like that. This is long before everything became nationwide. So we'd go, and Shawn and I were working the booth, and the whole Vegas trip, we're there for 3 days. Everything's normal, you know. And but it was just Shawn and me, so we're sharing a room, we're having every meal together, we're doing everything together like a couple would. And then the last night there, we go to this really nice steakhouse, we have a great dinner, and we go back up to his room, and he sits down in the bed, and that's when he ended it. I was like, I was shocked. I was like,
I was going to say that it came out of nowhere.
Like, what? Out of nowhere, because the whole Vegas trip was fine.
How did he put it? Like,
I don't remember his exact words because I started getting like hysterical.
Right.
I was crying. I was upset. I was like, my heart was broken, you know. But I don't remember the exact words he said. But it was basically because I was choosing to like stay. Because basically, I wanted my cake and eat it too.
Right.
I wanted to stay home, let Chris be happy, but I wanted Shawn too on the road.
Right.
I wanted both, you know, and he wasn't having that. So that's what happened.
Interesting.
And then like a month later, he meets Rebecca. A month after they meet, he gets her pregnant. She's living in the house that I designed.
Did you feel? I mean, obviously you were devastated, but did you feel regret, like that you should have?
At times, yeah.
Do you still?
At times, yeah.
Fair enough.
A lot of mixed feelings about that, yeah. I mean, I wrote it all in my book. I mean, if you read the chapter in my book, it's called A Heartbreaking Romance, his chapter. It's all about him. And at the end of the chapter, I write, you know, I wonder what life would be like if I did make that jump and if I did choose to move to Texas. But, yeah, see, I never live with regrets, because if you live with regrets, you're going to be miserable. You know, so do I think about it sometimes? Sure. Do I regret it? No, you can't live with regrets.
I think there's a difference between thinking of it and reminiscing and having regrets, because regrets will tear you up.
Exactly.
Vader just can't be Vader in the WWF. I said, quite frankly, you know, my style that got me over initially in Europe, and my style that got me over in Japan, and the style that got me over in WCW with Sting and in all those matches, I don't believe I'm allowed to be me. And I'm not going to name a name here. He'll know who he is, you know, if he hears this. And but it was a major star with the World Wrestling Federation, and we went out there, and we were in Nassau, and I mean, it was sold out, and we went 15, 18 minutes. I mean, tore it down. Vince came up and said, "What a match! Jesus Christ, man, you're really moving, you know." And that superstar walked in and said, "Listen, you know, you may be king shit wherever you've been before, but this is WWF, and I've been here for X amount of years, and if you're ever that stiff with me in the ring again, I'll put a dime in this penny. I'll put a dime in the jukebox, and you'll be gone the next day." And
wow.
That happened on more than one occasion. I was promised the deal with the angle with Shawn. Shawn was the world champion.
Yes.
Remember, and I was going around the loop with Shawn.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And for the time, we were drawing great money. You know, compared to what they're drawing today, it wasn't much. But in 1996, I mean, the houses were up from 95. Like, so Shawn and I, as the main event, we were drawing big money for the time. And matches were superb. But we were the main event all around the loop for probably, 2 months? And We were averaging 8, 9, 10,000 people a show then. Where now they're averaging 18,000 people a show.
All right.
But at 10,000 people a show for 2 months is 40 shows. That's 400,000 people, right?
Plus, that business was up then from where it was before then.
Yeah, but see, that is your pay-per-view audience.
Yeah.
So the pay-per-view audience had basically seen Shawn beat me at a house show with his finish 1, 2, 3, and then we go into the Cleveland
SummerSlam.
Is that the match we're going to ask about?
And in other words, I've never in the history of not in the recent history of wrestling, and certainly I've never been exposed in a situation where I'm going to be a main event with Sting, but then for 2 months prior to that, I'm doing house shows all around the loop with him, and he's beating me at this finish. And then, so even though the house did something like $517,000, the buy rate was bad. They go, I wonder why. Well, must be Vader's fault because we know it can't be Shawn's fault. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so that was kind of like, the first boo-boo was, hey, the monsoon thing, and then he went away. And all that heat that was on me, all that excitement about Vader being in WWF got flat. And then the second thing was, what do you expect? You put, I don't care if you put Stone Cold and Shamrock together and then put them in the house shows together for 2.5, 3 months, right?
Yeah.
And have Stone Cold beat him every night with his Stone Cold Stunner.
Yeah.
And then go into a pay-per-view with the buy rates, not going to do well. And you know what? Stone Cold's not going to get the blame.
Ken Shamrock is.
Shamrock's going to get the blame, and it's the exact same situation I got put in. So, and then that was kind of my second downfall. Like, hey, now you can't draw on a major pay-per-view. Shawn and I, even though the buy rate wasn't well, the house did very well, and the match was good.
The match was great, but I have a question about the match. During the middle of the match, it looked like he was going for an elbow drop, and he just came down and just started yelling. It looked like he threw a temper tantrum in the middle of the match.
He's a temperamental individual. If things don't go ABC, you know what I'm saying? And in wrestling, they don't do that. And in fact, I don't even like him to do that. I'd rather have him flow a little not so succinctly. Yeah. So something didn't go ABC. You know what I mean? And,
wow, did that surprise you?
Well, yeah, because I thought it was unprofessional. Okay, A, B, we'll skip C, but we'll do D and come back to C. That's how professionals work. Never in my life had that happen to me.
Yeah.
Everyone forgets spots, and even Shawn forgets spots. Well, if you forget something, well, you do something else, then you come back to it, right? It's called wrestling. I was so when SummerSlam went bad. They decided to make a change because Vince had promised me, look, you're going to beat Shawn, then Brett's going to beat you, and then you're going to beat Brett, and then Shawn's going to beat you, but you'll be a 2-time champion. I said, my God, I've done it. I've made the loop everywhere I've gone. And then when SummerSlam went bad, it wasn't their fault because they booked us for 3 months, right?
Yeah.
It was Leon's fault. And so they switched to Sid, and Sid got that run instead of me, but it was promised to me.
Shawn Michaels spent a lot of time with up there, and
him and his partner Marty
Jannetty.
Man, we Marty Jannetty used to beat the crap out of Michaels at night. In the hallways, and then we would go up and down the hallways, clean up the blood where we wouldn't get thrown out, and be able to come back to the motels. Wipe wet towels and wiping the stuff down. And if Shawn, he wasn't a tough guy at all. That's why I kind of that thing that he did against Bret Hart up in Canada.
Yeah,
that's why it had to be kind of a secret kind of thing, because I don't think if Bret Hart knew it, Shawn Michaels couldn't stop Bret Hart, so to speak.
Bret's more legitimate,
right? In a legitimate fight, and Shawn Michaels and here again it's touchy. It's always touchy. But in my opinion, He could not whoop his way out of a whip. Bang! You understand what I'm saying? And the reason of the split is because of that fight. You know, he couldn't. One of them had to go, and it was him at the. You know, Michael stayed and got the big push, but he couldn't do it with his partner beating the crap out of him all the time.
Back then, it's when Shawn and Marty, the Rockers, worked for Vern, went to New York, and then that whatever happened with Dynamite when he peeled them up or something, and they got fired. I don't know what happened. It was a rib, something crazy. I don't know, a hotel room, a bar, or whatever. Shawn and Marty got fired. You knew that, right? I'm at home working, you know, and working, cutting the back out in the field, and somebody told me that's close to when the kayfabe sheet Meltzer started coming out. You know what I mean? In there, and one of my buddies called me. It wasn't on a cell phone. I got home, I had a message on my phone and said, "Man, the Rockers got fired in WWF and all that." I was like, "Wow, you were young and around our age, and you know, great team, of course. You know, enough said of that." But anyway, Robert Ford brought him into Continental, so that knocked me out of a spot. Steve was still there as a single, but they didn't really have a lot of plans for him. They were going to bring us in, but they thought these guys, they were on the ESPN TV, right? You know, and it had a little TV coverage with WWF, so it meant a lot more than us being there, you know, and all that. And of course, you know, well, Tracy's cutting tobacco. I thought I had a job, and I couldn't get in with Jerry Jarrett because they thought I was going to Continental, and then they said, "Well, we don't know if the Rockers may end up going back, you know, to Vince." Jerry Jarrett would give me a job because he thought I'd be leaving, so I'm not working. I'll cut the back all summer for 3 months. But I can tell you that story real quick about Bob.
Go ahead, tell us.
Hey, it's no lie, man. It was the Super Bowl or whatever it was called for Smoky Mountain, big show. Buddy Landell was working Shawn, and Buddy got his life back. You know, he was doing good, and that was a big deal for Buddy because he was wanting, of course, to get in with Vince. If I'm right, I believe Undertaker worked with Kane. He wasn't Kane then. He was Unabomber. Yeah. And after that, they signed him pretty soon. You know, after that, I want to say that maybe it was before that. I ain't sure. We were working with Chris Jericho broke his arm, working out, trying to do a shooting star press in the ring. Broke his arm. They were in a tag with.
Where's this?
Knoxville.
Okay.
Knoxville. Lance Storm, Chris Jericho were doing the Thrill Seekers thing.
Yes.
And I think it's the same night. Chris broke his arm in the ring. Jimmy was really mad at him. Broke his wrist or something. And he got juice and bled like a stuffed hog. And I believe they worked with, God, I can't remember who they worked with. I don't remember. I can't remember who he worked with. But anyway, I remember this. Shawn was working Buddy. A lot of guys were lined up, you know, to talk to Shawn. You know, Shawn was the man to say hi to him. And did. And all I saw was this. Bob Armstrong come around the corner. And he had his watch off, and he had his glasses off. Okay? And when he does that, he's ready to throw down. He ain't coming to talk. You know? And I come out of the dressing room, and Brad and Brian, Jesse James, were standing over there. And it wasn't long before Shawn was going to take the belt off Brad at WrestleMania. Might have been toward the end of the year. Might have been the first of the year. I don't remember. You know, but Bob went up to him and it was real quick with Shawn. Well, Robert Gibson told us in the bar. This is exactly what Bob. This is how Bob Armstrong is. He didn't care who Shawn. I'm not. You know, and he didn't care what his position was in our business. He didn't care. He disrespected his family. Disrespected his kids. And I thought it was the coolest thing. Not necessarily because I hated Shawn. It wasn't any of that. I didn't hate it. You know, I don't. But Shawn back then was hard to deal with. Now I think it's a different story, and you know, things like that. But Bob walked up to him and cleared everybody out, kind of, and shook his hand with the left hand. He goes, "Hey, Shawn," he goes, "good to see you, buddy." He goes, "Sorry I had to fire you 10 years ago, but my son needed a job." Just like that, just sort of ribbing, and you let him know that, you know, you're here now. And Bob had his, you know, Bob was intense, shaking, shook his hand with the left hand because Bob would nail him, and Shawn knew it. Shawn, from where I can see, Shawn was like about to crap his pants. He won't fight Bob. He didn't want to do that. And, you know, and Shawn was just like, stop it. And, you know, they right there, and you know, and they were cool. And maybe from then it wasn't. But then when I got up there a year later or so, yeah, he didn't like Smoky Mountain guys. He didn't like Cornette. And I'd been in the business 15 years already. And I'm like, God, guys, you guys act like I'd never been nowhere but work for Jimmy, you know? But they didn't like you because you worked for Jimmy, so.
Memories of your matches with Shawn Michaels?
Shawn Michaels was a good performer. I remember when they first came in and they'd be depressed because they weren't pushing him and his partner, and I'd tell them, I said, look, you guys are around. Your time will come. You know, just hang in there.
You knew he had it.
Yeah, everybody knew he had it. I mean, he was
more than Marty.
Yeah, well, ability. Marty didn't have anything less than Shawn.
Right.
But I think Shawn had the look.
Yeah.
You also had some matches with Shawn Michaels and Triple H. Was Shawn difficult to work with at the time?
Shawn was easy to work with.
No, I mean, when you weigh $1.50, it's easy to work with.
Right. Because Shawn was fine in the ring.
As far as politically, I mean.
Well, politically, he's got his own clique, and politically, I believe that if I've ever seen anybody, including Stone Cold, have Vince more wrapped or in the palm of his hand, it's Shawn Michaels. I don't know if it's a sexual deal they got going on, because I've heard this about both of them. I don't know what it is. But that Shawn Michaels got away more crap than I've seen from anybody.
Just the way.
Matter of fact, when they got the hair fight pulling match between him and Bret Hart, and believe me, if everybody would have broken up, Bret Hart would have.
You would have killed Shawn.
But the thing is, they were both pulling hair, and there's Pat Patterson going, honk, help. I'm going, Pat, I don't break up fights. I said, I don't want anybody breaking up mine either. And so right there was the beginning of the end for Bret Hart. That's because that tells me something. To me, as a heterosexual man, it tells me maybe there's something going on with these two, where after 17 years of Bret Hart, who stayed there, worked there every day, worked his ass out, and didn't get time off with phony injuries like Shawn Michaels. I could never understand it. I said, there's something going on here. I used to call it a ball and cock contract. You know, you might not want to print that, you might, I don't know.
How did you guys feel about Vince after the whole Shawn Brett Montreal situation? I mean, I know you hate Vince.
The Shawn and Brett thing?
Yeah.
I thought it was one of the worst things that happened in our business.
I thought one of the best things that's happened, where a lot of people forgot that before Brett ever got physically to Vince, was Nails.
Kevin Kelly.
Kevin Kelly, who I got the job there along with Hulkster, who was one of the best friends I've ever had. It's a good thing there was another Minnesota boy there to pull him off. Maybe Vince wouldn't be doing promoting anymore. Maybe he'd be deceased, because he screwed Kevin Kelly around, and from what I understood, he deserved it. So maybe he didn't quite understand the psyche of a Kevin Kelly. Kevin Kelly, you tell him you're going to take care of him this way and that, like he's told us a million times, and you don't take care of him, don't show up the shits. Well, again, obviously he didn't know what kind of person Kevin Kelly was.
You know, when you deal in our business, when you don't have a union, which I wish you did, and you have nobody to protect your ass or your assets, your trust is in your boss, your referee, and the guy you're in the ring with. And when that trust is broken, there's no way Brett could have stayed or done anything. You know what I mean? Brett was left with no option.
He had friends like us there, friends like Owen there.
I was watching
but
on
you
TV.
know what? At that time, he had so much heat hanging around with him when it got you heat. Not that we would have minded, because we had enough heat the way it was.
I looked at that on TV. I looked at that, and I was sitting there with, I think
After 17 years of working for Vince?
I looked at that after all that time that he put in, and what I couldn't believe, and here, I know the guy has to make money, but I'm telling you what, out of respect to my friend, I don't know if I could have done what Earl Hebner did.
Do you think Shawn was in on it?
Yes.
We did an interview with Shawn Saturday.
He said he was? Of course he was.
No, he said he wasn't.
Yeah,
of course he said he wasn't. Of course he said he wasn't.
That's why because Davey Boy was going to kick his ass in the locker room.
Yeah, well, see, now Dave Boy's back there working, which is a sad situation.
Brett was in there, and Brett, I was ready. I was in the locker room when it was all going down.
I didn't have no heat. You know, the only heat I had was with the clique.
Were there any bitter feelings still with you and Vince when you came
Not
out?
at all.
Nah.
No, not at all. In fact, Vince gave me a hell of a push. Even though they abused me in the end, but I think that was the influence of the clique trying to bury me, because there was some problems with my friend Chris Candido, and some rumors that I didn't like, and some things. See, I'm old school, and these guys forgot what old school was all about. and there's certain things you do and you don't do, and they were doing the things that you shouldn't do. And you know, in the day with the old timers around, if you did that shit, every wrestler would be on your case.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden they were scared of these guys, and I was the only one that stepped up to the plate and said, you know, fuck all you guys, man. It's not right. It's wrong. And they went to Vince and just said, look, this guy's, you know, he's got a bad attitude. It's bad for morale. Let's abuse him. And I didn't let him abuse me as much as they wanted to, and I just left.
When was the first time that you noticed or thought to yourself that Vince was losing control to the Clique?
Well, when they were all going in and having a meeting, and they were all going to, you know, production meetings and all, you know, it's just Vince for somehow let the talent influence him in his decision, and it just really hurt the company really bad, you know, and they got away from it, you know. You know, Vince goes, you know, when Diesel and Razor and Shawn and everybody, you know, Vince comes out and says, you know, it's nice to know that there's still some loyalty, and a week later,
yeah,
you know, so he should have been more loyal to the guys like me that were telling him it's wrong. You're listening to these guys; they're tearing the morale up, and they're stepping on it. I mean, they were going up to like the Bushwhackers, you know, even though they suck.
Yeah.
You know, come on, they're old timers. They're going to be out of business a few years. Leave them alone.
Respect.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You know, Shawn would go up to him and tell him, you suck, you're no good, you know.
Yeah.
You know, and the twins, the two brothers, you know.
Yeah.
They had him by the throat in the garden, choked him out.
The Bruise Brothers.
Bruise Brothers, man.
Yeah.
You know, and Shawn getting his ass kicked in Syracuse. What? These guys is a jerk, man.
Yeah.
You know, a rich jerk.
Is there any more to the story than with Shawn missing all that time right after WrestleMania?
Nah, you know, I really don't know. I'm sure it had a lot to do with attitude.
Yeah.
You know, that's just him.
Yeah.
Who knows? Dude, he don't like to do jobs, bottom line. You know, now I don't know. He's hurt. See, I haven't been there, so I really don't know what I hear. So anything I say is just hearsay, you know.
Yeah, people say he's hurt, but then people say they see him riding his Harley around San Antonio too. So.
Well, when I was hurt, I was able to ride my Harley too. You know, it was
Right.
a way to relax. So.
All right.
You know, but he's a rich kid. He's got a lot of money. He's a very popular guy, and he gets to call the shots now.
Yeah.
Because he don't need to work.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, Vince needs him, obviously, at this point.
Of course, man. He's got all that merchandise.
Yeah.
So, you know, you're stuck with $50 million worth of merchandise. Well, shit, we need him back.
Yeah.
You know, there's heat between Shane, heat between Chris Candido and me with him because he was part of the clique. And the three of us lost our jobs and our positions because of him and his clique.
Yeah. Was there ever any major blow-ups in the locker room with you on the cliff?
They would have got their ass kicked. So I'd have beat the shit out of all three of them. And at one time, they all wanted to jump me, and it was like, all right, you go first. You know, because the bottom line, I'd kick all three of their asses. I mean, if they want to really get down, they want to shoot, they'd be in big fucking trouble.
Did you ever go to Vince during any of this?
Yeah, I did, and Vince said, no, there's no click it done. Vince refused to acknowledge it at all.
Yeah.
Which right there led me to believe that it was time to get out. And that they were definitely influencing him, and it just all the heat went on me. I was bad for morale, you know. So all right, goodbye.
Yeah, is that what led to you leaving?
That was it.
Yeah.
I'd work with Razor or Shawn or Diesel. You know, I'd speak my piece, get it off my chest. And if they wanted to be dicks, I'd just go in the ring and stretch them.
Yeah.
If they don't want to be dicks and they want to be business and they want to go out and have more than one match, or you know.
Yeah.
Because if they want to be jerk, they're only going to have one match.
Yeah.
It's going to be the end of it.
Yeah.
You know, because Shawn ain't kicking my ass. Razor, you ain't kicking my ass. And Kevin, you ain't kicking my ass. So, and you fucking know it, too.
Think Vince will eventually wrestle? Or?
Of course he's going to have to wrestle, man. You know, he's got to complete it. You know, Cactus Jack and friggin' Stone Cold or Steve Austin. Or as Mike Tyson would say, it would be Cold Stone. Shawn Michaels is an up and coming young talent. What a dick.
Mike Tyson, big WWF fan.
Yeah.
I'm not this shit.
That again, watching that made me sick because it was history repeating itself.
Yeah.
Been there, done that. Old news.
Yeah.
And another big letdown. They led you to believe that Tyson was going to do something, and he did dick. And it was horrible. It was really horrible. The match sucked too.
Baby, I wanted to know what your feelings were towards Vince McMahon and the Clique.
The Clique. Well, the Clique is dead. Vince is a businessman. He's got to make business decisions. And it'll always be that way. He's made millionaires that got to a point that told him no. As far as the Clique influence Vince now, I think he had such a bad experience with in the past. I don't think it'll ever happen again. Besides, he's got Shawn Michaels to deal with.
And they did the close-up on his jaw and his...
Chewing his gum.
Really?
Yeah.
When Tyson knocked him out, he just gone.
Yeah.
Like, whatever.
That's so bad.
Yeah.
He like blew bubbles.
Yeah.
It's really bad, man, because it's not the right thing. It's not business.
Surprised he didn't stand up and start doing a dance, in the middle of it.
Or,
Yeah.
He's a trip, man. He's a trip.
Wow.
From my understanding was that, and from a good, very reliable source, that Mark Calaway, after his match, taped up his hands, pushed everybody out of the way to TV, sat down in front of the television, and says, if he don't drop the strap, I'm fucking taking him out.
Really?
Because apparently there was heat. He wasn't going to go up and do it.
Wow.
Like he was going to renege on his deal.
Over.
Well, he was going to screw the whole company over, man, because they knew he was on his way out.
Yeah.